Welcome to the deep dive, where we take the densest sources, the research papers, the technical guides,
Yeah.
and turn them into immediate, actionable knowledge for you. Today, we are taking on three of the biggest battles in modern life: our health, our wealth, and our chronic lack of time. We aren't talking about simple meal prep.
No, not that.
We are talking about systems engineering for your kitchen. Our focus is the strategic discipline of batch cooking for sustained weight loss, and we're using a fantastic collection of materials, including the incredibly detailed guide from sundried.com. The sources, they define this challenge perfectly. They call it the Modern Trilemma. It's that constant conflict between health, wealth, and time. And the modern food environment, it's literally obesogenic. I mean, it's engineered to make us gain weight.
It really is.
So because we feel time poor, we grab those easy options, and that choice, it just extracts this punishing tax on our health and our finances.
And that's our mission today. We're using the science and the logistics from these reports to prove that batch cooking isn't some kind of sacrifice. It's actually the single most efficient way to solve that trilemma.
All at once.
All at once. It turns your kitchen from a place of, chaos and reactive eating into a highly predictable, high-performance engine. We're going to look at the math, the hormones, and the surprising physics of why it all works.
Let's start with the wallet then, because the financial argument is where the ROI, the return on investment, just becomes impossible to ignore. You are paying what our sources call the convenience tax.
And that tax is steep. I mean, the economic analysis is startlingly clear. We found specific data comparing the average commercial meal, and that's anything from a deli sandwich to a fast casual bowl coming in around $20.37.
$20 just for lunch.
Exactly. Now, you compare that to the average home-cooked, prepped meal, which works out to just $4.31.
Wow. Okay, that's not a small difference. That's a huge gap.
It's a massive savings arbitrage opportunity, over $16 per meal.
Let's let that sink in. So for a single person, if you just replace 5 work lunches a week with your own $4 meal, you're saving over $80 every single week.
That's right. And if you run that out for the whole year, you are looking at a financial hemorrhage of over $4,160 annually.
Just by changing lunch.
Just by changing your lunch strategy. So the investment in time and maybe a few good containers, it pays for itself almost instantly.
So batch cooking protects your wealth, check. But the biggest return is on your health. That financial advantage brings us right to weight loss, which, as you said, isn't just calories in, calories out. We have to talk about biology.
We have to. The hormonal model really explains why we struggle. When we eat out, those convenience foods are engineered for a hyperpalatable bliss point.
Right.
Which almost always means hidden sugars and refined carbs in the sauces, the marinades.
Yeah.
And that triggers the key hormone. Insulin?
Insulin, the storage signal.
Exactly. High insulin is basically your body screaming, "We have a massive influx of energy. Shut the doors and store it." Chronically high insulin actively inhibits lipolysis. That's the actual process of breaking down stored body fat.
So by cooking at home, you're not just counting calories, you're directly managing your insulin load.
Precisely. You allow your body to actually access its own fat stores. Your kitchen becomes a metabolic control center.
Which brings us to the MVP of weight loss nutrition, the one nutrient we have to prioritize: protein.
Yes. Protein is the fulcrum that shifts the whole energy balance. It has the highest thermic effect of food, or TE.
And TE is what exactly?
It's the energy your body needs to just digest and process the food you just ate. And the sources highlight that for protein, your body expends a huge amount of energy. Somewhere between 20 to 30% of the calories you ate are burned just in digestion.
20 to 30%. What's that compared to, say, fat?
For dietary fat, it only costs your body 0 to 3%. It's an incredible difference.
So protein basically forces your body to burn fuel just to process the fuel.
It's a massive metabolic advantage. Plus, it maximizes satiety hormones, so you feel fuller longer. For active weight loss, the target is high. About 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.
And batch cooking is really the only predictable way to hit that number consistently.
Right. It's very hard to do that just relying on restaurant food.
Okay, hitting the protein target is key, but we all know the biggest hurdle in a calorie deficit is just raw physical hunger, which brings us to what the sources call the volume hack.
Hunger is the #1 reason diets fail. Full stop. So we fight it by manipulating caloric density, calories per bite.
So switching from high-density to low-density foods?
Exactly. This is volume eating, and the superstar here is fiber.
And is it really just about the physical volume, just stretching your stomach?
It is. I mean, it's a huge part of it. Fiber is essentially non-digestible bulk. When your stomach lining stretches, it triggers mechanoreceptors that send signals straight to your brain through the vagus nerve, signaling fullness.
So that physical stretch is more powerful than just the calorie count alone.
In many ways, yes. The comparison from the guide is astounding. 200 calories of pasta is tiny, maybe half a cup cooked.
Right. Not very satisfying.
Not at all. But for 200 calories of a high-fiber vegetable like broccoli, you get nearly 4 cups. You can eat this massive, psychologically satisfying plate of food, feel completely stuffed, and still be in a deficit.
That is a tangible, brilliant way to reframe the meal, and it's super economical, which the sun-dried guide really emphasizes.
Absolutely. We're talking about cheap, nutrient-dense staples. First, legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas. Probably the most cost-effective protein and fiber source there is.
Shelf-stable, too.
And then, frozen produce. The analysis in the guide shows they're flash frozen at peak ripeness, so they often have more micronutrients than fresh produce that's been shipped for weeks. And zero waste.
No more wilted spinach in the back of the fridge.
Exactly. And finally, robust root vegetables. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes. They give you complex carbs and a lot of volume on a really tight budget.
Okay, we've solved money and health. Now for the hardest part of the trilemma. Time. How do we solve the clock?
The single biggest time sink is what the sources call switching costs.
Switching costs.
Yeah, think about it. The time you spend getting out the cutting board, preheating the oven, chopping the onion, and then cleaning up. That's a fixed cost. You pay that cost whether you cook 1 serving or 10.
So by batching, you pay that fixed cost just once for the whole week.
Precisely. The solution is component-based prep and what they call the cook once, eat thrice methodology.
Okay, I love that name. Walk me through it.
You cook a large batch of a neutral foundational elements. Let's say a big batch of shredded chicken with just salt and pepper.
Simple.
Then you differentiate the flavor profiles during the week to avoid palate fatigue. So that chicken becomes Mexican chipotle bowls on Monday, a Mediterranean lemon herb salad on Wednesday, and maybe you toss it with BBQ sauce on Friday. The core work is done, but the meal feels new every time.
That branching logic is the real time saver. What are the high-efficiency cooking methods to get that mass production done?
We lean into passive cooking. First, sheet pan thermodynamics. You use the whole surface of the oven to roast your protein and veggies at the same time. That dry heat gives you amazing flavor from the Maillard reaction, that browning, with almost no active attention.
Set it and forget it.
Pretty much. Second, your heavy-duty appliances. The slow cooker or the pressure cooker. These are absolutely essential for turning tough, cheap cuts of meat, like a chuck roast, into something fork tender.
How do they do that?
They work by hydrolyzing or breaking down the tough collagen into gelatin over many hours. Your active prep is maybe 10 minutes, then it cooks itself.
And to tie it all together, we need to talk about zero-waste culinary economics, making sure every dollar spent on ingredients actually ends up as food.
This is a pro-kitchen standard that everyone should adopt. FIFO protocol, first in, first out. But the really clever trick is capturing value from scraps.
You mean like onion skins and carrot ends?
Exactly. You save all those vegetable trimmings in a bag in your freezer. When it's full, you boil it all down into a rich, flavorful, and this is key, sodium-controlled vegetable broth. You capture value you'd otherwise throw away.
That is smart engineering. Okay, now for what might be the most crucial section, the science of preservation. You can make the perfect meal, but if you mess this up, you risk quality, safety, everything. Let's talk about the danger zone.
This is non-negotiable food safety. The danger zone is the temperature range where pathogenic bacteria can just reproduce like crazy. We're talking doubling their population every 20 minutes.
And we've all done this wrong. We take a big, hot container of leftovers and stick it straight in the fridge. Why is that so dangerous?
Because that core mass of food acts as an insulator. The fridge cools the outside, but the center sits in that critical zone. That's between 41 and 135 degrees Fahrenheit for hours. It basically becomes a bacteria incubator.
So what's the right way to do it?
You have to follow the mandatory 2-stage cooling protocol.
Okay, what are the stages?
Stage 1 is the rapid knockdown. You have to get the temperature from 135 degrees down to 70 degrees within 2 hours. This is the most critical drop. You do it by splitting the food into shallow pans or using an ice bath.
2 hours? That's fast.
And then stage 2 is the final chill, from 70 degrees down to 41 degrees within an additional 4 hours. If you fail to hit those targets in that 6-hour window, the food has to be thrown out.
Wow. So it requires active work, not just passive hope. Okay, beyond safety, let's talk physics. Why does my frozen food so often turn into mush?
That's all about managing water and ice crystals. Your home freezer causes slow freezing. That creates large, jagged, needle-like ice crystals that literally puncture the cell walls of your food.
So when you thaw it,
All the liquid leaks out. That's what we call drip loss, and that's why you get that mushy, unappetizing texture.
so some foods must be better for freezing than others then.
Oh, absolutely. This is the matrix resilience principle. You choose recipes where the structure can handle it. Soups, stews, curries, they're ideal because the solids are suspended in a liquid matrix, which protects them.
And you mentioned some meats actually get better.
Yes, interestingly, collagen-rich meats like beef chuck actually get mechanically tenderized by the freeze-thaw cycle. The ice crystals help break down those tough connective tissues.
What about the hardware? Glass versus plastic.
The sources are really clear on this. Borosilicate glass is the gold standard. It's chemically inert, so it won't leach anything. It's non-porous, so no stains or odors.
Hmm.
And it can go from the freezer straight to the oven.
Whereas plastic?
Plastic is porous, it holds onto smells, and it can leach chemicals when you heat it. But if you go with glass, you have to remember the rule. Leave a 1-inch expansion gap at the top. Water expands when it freezes, and it will shatter the glass if there's no room.
Got it. Okay, let's look at a few recipes from the guide that are engineered specifically for this.
Let's do it. First, the detox lentil soup. It works because lentils have a high amylose and fiber content. They resist that mushiness that would destroy something like rice or pasta.
What's the critical technique for that one?
Timing your greens. Do not add kale if you're freezing for more than a month. It oxidizes and gets this really unpleasant hay-like flavor. You have to add it fresh when you reheat.
See, that's the kind of detail that makes the whole system work. What about creamy dishes? They usually fail spectacularly.
Right, but the Instant Pot cauliflower curry works because it uses a coconut milk base. Unlike dairy, which separates, coconut milk's fats stay stable. The key is to slightly undercook the cauliflower before you freeze it. The reheating process finishes the job perfectly.
And what about that beef stew we talked about, the life-changing beef stew?
That one is all about collagen hydrolysis. You have to use chuck roast, not a lean cut. The collagen turns to gelatin, which gives it that silky mouthfeel. And the secret thickener is tapioca pearls, not cornstarch, because they create a stable gel that doesn't break when frozen.
Okay, one more. The slow cooker beef ragu, which solves that dreaded warmed-over flavor.
Ah, WOF.
Yeah.
Warmed-over flavor is a classic problem. It's caused by fats oxidizing when they're exposed to air during storage. It makes meat taste stale, almost metallic.
So how do you stop it?
The solution is genius. After the meat is cooked, you shred it directly into the sauce. Coating every single strand creates an oxygen barrier. It completely prevents that lipid oxidation and eliminates WOF.
That's fantastic. Such a simple structural fix for a huge quality problem. Okay, let's quickly summarize the framework we've built here. It's a system based on protein-forward nutrition,
Volume eating to crush hunger,
component prep to fight flavor fatigue.
and mastering that two-stage cooling process for safety and quality.
The goal really is a shift from reactive consumption, just eating because you're hungry, and grabbing whatever is easy, to proactive management.
Exactly. You're building an infrastructure for yourself that removes the need for constant willpower. You're managing your biology and your finances.
And here's a final provocative thought for you, pulled straight from the source material on nutrition. While cooking does cause a small loss of vitamin C, maybe 10 to 20%, a meal that is frozen right after cooking and eaten 3 months later will often have a higher vitamin content than the exact same meal left in your fridge for just 5 days.
Wow.
The freezer truly is the pause button for nutritional stability. You have the knowledge now. Start small. Master your lunch prep this week and just watch the returns on your health, wealth, and time start to compound.